Hey guys, Hannah has paid for another video on Oni.red. And so here I am. Welcome to Onision Speaks in 2026. Which brings us somewhat to the topic I partially want to discuss today. One, anger, drama, etc., and the role it has to play in your own life and society. And two, how insanely stupid the characters on Love is Blind are. The way people who are around my age date in our modern society boggles my mind a little bit. And a lot of that comes out of Love is Blind. Something I hope a lot of people understand about Love is Blind, they're not bringing the best of the best on that show. They're bringing people who are so desperate to find a significant other and have failed so catastrophically at finding a significant other that they resorted to being on a reality show to finally obtain this idea of love, to which they have come to understand their eyes previously consistently deceived them and would rather give the control of their life away to a former 98 Degrees band member. Things they do on Love is Blind that annoy the hell out of me. Like someone will say, I can't see you, but you're obviously beautiful, which isn't a thing. Unless you're talking about the non-physical beautiful, which we both know you're not. Because if they come out as the sludge monster, you aren't gonna be like, oh, you're so beautiful still. Like, what are you even saying? It's like you guys were born for a pig butchering scheme or something. Let's talk about the overwhelming fakeness of the reveal on Love is Blind. Over and over again, you can see that people are not happy with what is in front of their eyes. Like they do the reveal and it's an ugly troll person, and then they just go, ah, and then they go and kiss them and they fake grin, and you can see in their eyes, because the eyes don't lie, that they're actually screaming in agony. And then they just lead these people on, where they act like everything is cool, refusing to communicate that there's a problem. No doubt blaming the other person for not seeing through their lie. Inevitably to take them a quarter, half, all the way through the show, even sometimes, just to turn them down.
All the superficial things of the world were not a factor for you two.
Talk about messed up people. There's the issue of people saying like every 5 seconds. For instance, people in their 20s and 30s, they're talking to each other like, and they keep saying like over and over again, like.
Because of like your voice and what I feel like your vibe is, I feel like people assume that you're not smart, but I think like people very much so underestimate you.
There were people who were talking on the most recent show of Love is Blind, and if you close your eyes, you couldn't distinguish between this 30-year-old and someone half their age. They sounded exactly the same.
That's what a lot of people keep saying, but I'm like, I wish that he would fucking show me. Day one, we were like making out hardcore, and like,
And the whole women empowerment thing would be totally fine if there was also a men empowerment, but there isn't. On Love is Blind, women can be mean and horrible to men, zero accountability a lot of the time. But if a man says, oh, don't mess up your appetito, then suddenly he's someone who's promoting anorexia and body shaming because he said, don't ruin your appetito.
You about to eat 2 of those?
Maybe. That's a serving. You okay with that?
You better save your appetito.
I've only had a banana
Talking
and
like-
a scoop of peanut butter today.
Big ol' sucker tonight.
So,
You only had a banana today?
mm-hmm.
If I destroyed someone's self-esteem, like, then I regret it. And, like, watching it destroyed me.
The standards between the genders, freaking crazy. Something recently that I saw was this chick, she goes in and she says, hey, I'm gonna need to have you pick me over this other woman, otherwise I can't move forward, which is a highly manipulative, borderline abusive, controlling thing to do.
I just want for once, like, a man to be like,
that they choose Tyler. I know.
I don't know what your journey is with Kia, but what I would need, like, today is for you to only be dating me.
I am choosing fucking Tyler.
Kevin, look at you making a decision.
Devil's advocate could tell you she's just trying to make sure she's not wasting her time. Another person looking at the situation could say she's trying to assert her dominance and dictate what he does in his life and force his hand and put him in a situation that makes him uncomfortable. But that's not where this is bad. It gets kind of bad when he actually does get pressured into picking her. She goes back, hears about this other chick picking out an engagement dress, feels bad, goes back to the dude, and then scolds him for picking her and supposedly being a bad person because the purpose of the show is the purpose of the show that she damn well knew she was getting on. So she does this whole women empowerment thing, ain't gonna let no man use me, blah 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 nonsense, and marches her happy ass off the set. For the second time, mind you. God forbid a show where you choose who you want to spend the rest of your life with can get difficult when you have two different people that you like. Wouldn't want to empathize with a regular human being over that. Instead, we should demonize him and act like we're a victim, right? So then this guy says, okay, well, I guess I'll just go with the other chick since the first chick kind of just publicly humiliated me. So he does go with the other chick, and then she says, you know what, I'm gonna choose myself.
I'm always stand on business and I gotta choose me every time. Put your shit together, you know?
Yeah.
I feel phenomenal. I feel free. I feel perfect. I chose me, bitches.
That was a scream. That was good. That was a good scream. That was a good scream, Kev.
I heard a good scream.
Nah, that was a bad scream.
Right after talking about how much she loves him and how he's a great person, bullcrap by the way, you don't go on a big rant about how you like someone so much and then publicly curb stomp them in front of everyone and leave them for dead. Like, that takes real sociopath crap. I love you so much, now here's your public humiliation. What? You do that to enemies, not friends. So she says that she chooses herself on a show where you're supposed to choose someone other than your narcissistic self. She obviously missed the plot. So she goes back to all these other women and celebrates what a sociopath she is for having been so in love with herself that she chose to be alone over being with another human being.
I was not in love. I'm in love with myself. You know what's weird is I always choose myself.
Which is contrary to the very core of what makes humanity thrive. Enjoy that lonely, vibrating hum. Every night all by yourself while you're thinking about how much girl power you have. So they do finally actually have a few couples who work out, and this handsome guy winds up with this beautiful blonde woman. She has a bit of a big nose, and if I was her, I would have gotten a nose job because goddamn is that a honker. Even so, she has pretty eyes, she seems like a real legitimate person, and by the way, me saying get a nose job, I'm trying to help you out. A lot of times nose jobs can help you breathe better, they increase your confidence, and the stigma around nose jobs is really just ugly people trying to compensate for the fact that they also can't afford a nose job. So don't let the noise from other people, like the body positive movement up until Ozempic came out, and then suddenly body positivity is right out the window because everyone was lying the whole time and everyone prefers a skinny person over a fat person, and I wish we would all just stop lying about that. Point is, this relatively attractive guy's with this relatively attractive big bird, and he's straight up saying that she's not his type, which blows my mind. Like, types in general are nuts. I don't care if you're black or Asian or white or whatever. Like, people are so racist on Love is Blind, it's crazy. The show is called Love is Blind. Like, you're supposed to be with a person because your personalities click, not because of how they look. And then you have these morons on that show going around being like, well, I'm actually into more darker women. That's called racism. You are holding a race up as if it is superior to another race. You are literally controlling breeding potential based on your internal preferences of perceived superiority. That's racism. So this guy is with a white woman. I think he's white too, but he sees this half black, half Latin woman, and he goes over to her and he starts talking about how he's actually into women who are darker.
Ash is a different type of person than I would have gone after before.
So is Devontae.
Right?
Yeah.
I do like darker features. I like certain things in my woman, and I'm still trying to figure out and gauge whether the physical matches the emotional. I think it's important that you have a physical connection, and I'm still exploring that at the moment.
And he's trying to use all these really dumbass words, and I say dumbass because it's like what pseudo-intellectuals resort to make everyone feel like, oh, wow, this person really knows a lot and they're not at all a scumbag. When really all the collective words that they're saying translates to the obvious message.
I'll break your heart to your face. I'm not foreshadowing here, but it's one of those, like, if we're not there, I'll be very comfortable saying that.
I haven't even mentioned at all
Sure.
that he's like not my usual type.
What's your usual type?
My usual type is like tall, athletic. I was like,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Hey, I don't like the blonde white woman I'm with because I'm more into Latinas, and you're a Latina. If you just gave me the okay, I would leave this perfectly fine white blonde chick for you in front of these cameras. And then this chick, who is pretty beautiful by the way, she goes back and talks to the camera, making a clear indication that this guy is a piece of crap. Or she phrases it a little different.
he has a little ruthlessness in him, so that makes me a little nervous for Ashley.
But that just irritates me so much because they do this all the time on Love is Blind. These guys and gals will use a bunch of words to mask them being pieces of crap. Like there was this one time when this chick, she comes out and she is kissing this guy so hard. She's like acting like she's so into him, but then she dumps him right after the reveal and is trying to say, oh, it's not you, yada yada.
I just couldn't have asked for a better partner. Casey's just amazing. She's just the person I've been waiting for my whole life. And it's huge to just be loved for who I am versus my ethnicity or how I look. It makes me feel secure.
I do know he's Asian. I've never dated somebody that looks like him. I've always just been so look-base heavy, and I just don't know if I'm gonna like, I don't know.
What's up? What's going on?
I love you so much. Like, I was so happy. I just never thought.
You know what? Let's just pause right there. I need to actually do like an actual full-on reaction to this show because I hate these people so much that they deserve a full in-depth analysis so I can dissect, dismember, and expose all these Love is Blind participants for what they are. These people, many of them are absolutely heinous. And if they were for only brief seconds under a microscope, it would be fairly evident how quickly they fall apart. All these people want to be heroes while being ashamed of their natural human prerogatives. We have so much canceling and societal crap going on that people haven't stopped being crappy. They just found new ways to present the crappiness. But one final note on that, love obviously isn't blind. I'm sick and tired of seeing gross people come out from behind the thing, the other person being grossed out by them while pretending they're into them. All so we can watch them lie to each other for 1 to 5 episodes till they finally fall apart and confess they just can't do it anymore because the person makes them want to puke. I don't know if it's that they just want to be on the show longer, get more attention, more money, whatever. The experiment is done. Love isn't blind. People are superficial, shallow, and full of crap. Can we please change the show name to Humans Are Pathetic? That would be a much better title. Humans are pathetic. Seeing all these people who are around my age acting like teenagers in love is some of the most pathetic crap you'll ever see. The level of romanticization, exaggeration, and complete lack of honesty is jaw-dropping. And I want to close on the second point of this video, which is anger, drama, etc. Being a person who struggles with, you know, a lot of things. I have a decent history here on YouTube and Twitter and OnlyFans or whatever else this is on of being pretty angry, dramatic, judgmental, etc. This video is just another in the long lines of videos that are like that. But if you think about the point of life, so many people just want to get to a state of comfort, a lack of drama, peace, calm, etc. There's a major problem with that, and it's one that I think you guys are really missing. Do you know how they say time flies when you're having fun? Like, you're getting in a car accident and it feels like, 5 minutes or something like that, but it was only a few seconds. You're not having fun, are you? But when you are having fun, it goes by in the blink of an eye. Or how about people who just generally have a life without conflict, where they've eliminated all the drama, they get everything they want all the time, they don't have a mental illness, yada, yada, yada. And then they go on and on talking about how life just went by in a blink. It all went by so fast. Or how about people in concentration camps? torture camps, whatever you want to call them. Do you think time is flying for those people? My point is that out of all the angry things that I've said in the past, out of all my drama or whatever, I will say this. The times in which I was regularly expressing that anger in videos, the times in which I was dramatic or not de-stressing my life as much as possible, those times went by slower. Now, while I've been very unhappy for a long time, I have noticed that when I focus on being less stressed out and doing things that don't trigger me as much, that time scoots by much more quickly. So what I'm saying is, good times, etc., they're robbing you of the actual perception and duration experienced from your life. So when you encounter someone who pisses you off, or you encounter someone who annoys you, or you encounter a situation that is miserable, you might notice that that feels like it lasts a lot longer. Think about a situation where your perception of duration of time is completely gone. Just the perception, okay? So you're looking back at your life and you have the experiences, but they all feel like there was no duration to them. In other words, each experience is only weighed by the experience and not how long it took. You can compress all of those, you can fit all of those into a Tupperware container at that point. So what I'm saying is, without drama, without anger, without bad experiences, without all these things. And I'm not saying any of those things are a good thing or that they should happen, because they are terrible, they could ruin lives, yada yada. But without them, have you not lost a huge, perceivable chunk of your life? I almost think, and this is a bit of a reality hack, but you know how for those of you who are married, your wife or your husband annoys the shit out of you sometimes? If you're a parent, do you ever notice that your kids running around screaming like an alarm clock because they think it's funny might actually put the brakes on your perception of time a little bit? All these annoying or upsetting or whatever experiences that, say, loved ones engage with you and subject you to, is that not incredibly necessary? We treat so many horrible things in life, me too, like this is pure theory and not applied to my actual life, but we treat a lot of the things we go through as if they are nothing but curses. But what we fail to notice is that these alleged curses are what keep us grounded to reality and time itself. The same goes for physical pain. For instance, I have arthritis supposedly developing in my back according to x-rays. If I did not have this pain in my back, would my time on earth not feel much more brief? When you feel pain, when you experience annoyance, etc., does my experience not extend duration-wise? Now, I'm not saying suffering is fun. It's terrible. But at the same time, there are many people who would rather experience going through something terrible than to be dead. I personally would rather be dead, but that applies to a lot of things. If you ask me, James, would you rather go on this roller coaster or instantaneously die right now? I would probably tell you I want to die right now, because I view reality and existence as relatively whatever. That being said, I stick around for my loved ones because I don't want to upset them. But if there were no consequences, I would love to check out. Think of it this way. You know how when you feed a dog food, they gobble it down a lot of times and then they look at you like that food never existed? That's how you guys are with happiness and good moments. Your brain eats them up and then you go back to searching for problems, threats, etc. We have drama, survival brains. And those happy times that we're all pursuing, that is our life going by in the blink of an eye. That's what you're pursuing. Anyway, I hope this video has been, I don't know, thought triggering, so you can walk away with something maybe useful. But ultimately what I'm saying is people who are the monsters on Love is Blind, just generally annoying, terrible people, dramatic people like myself also, paper cuts, barking dogs, people driving violently in traffic, all these things. These are individuals and things creating moments for us. Moments that we focus on, we can't help but remember and live over and over again, sometimes getting trauma from, suffering for the rest of our lives as a result of. But in that, I sometimes wonder whether or not that suffering is extending human life. Not in the actual mathematical time sense, but rather the perceivable time sense. It's almost like every optimal life on Earth that has existed had a good amount of suffering in it. Because without suffering, while the mind doesn't necessarily get traumatized and even damaged to the extent that it can never ever see happiness again, maybe it's impacted in a way that gives that individual more life experience than the happiest person on Earth, making one so much more wise, tested, evolved, and if reincarnation actually were a thing, developed on a spiritual level. You know how they say such and such gives you character? Every time someone calls you a name, every time someone says something about you that's not true, every time someone is terrible to you, I kind of wonder if it's not like feces, specifically feces being poured onto the base of a rose. And that rose, having put up with so much literal shit, becomes more beautiful because of it. I don't know. What do you think? Quick apology. It's time for me to take accountability for yet another thing. The last 2 Speaks videos, I forgot to do a boob squeeze. So with that being said, boob squeeze. Mwah. Thank you to everyone who is supportive. To everyone who disliked this video, you are my shit. You are my fertilizer. And seeing people for who they are, perceiving the gears shifting in the heads of others, reading through the words and seeing the actions and intentions, that's an ability that I do appreciate having, because if I'm going to be alive, I at least want to be aware. Everything on earth has some kind of purpose, even the mosquito.